But you're just beginning your life. Your life is good. And as the years go by, you have kids. One of the kids is Sandra. You saw her on the screen today. And the other kid is Linda. Sandra's the oldest, Linda's the next oldest, and Marcia's the youngest oldest of the family. But living at that time, you get to go see Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, go to the ballpark. Rivoli Theater had Abbott and Costello. Downtown, you had a lot of other stuff going on, but also in Germany and Austria and Czechoslovakia, the Nazis were taking over Europe. With a World War II vet in the back, I think you know what I'm talking about. It was a lot of stuff going on, but the United States was really not involved at that time. We were still enjoying Glenn Miller, Artie Shaw, and the rest of the bands. Then, suddenly, this young man who just bought a house, got 2 kids, gets a little letter and finds out that, in that one there, that he's got to go to the military. But in true Sivertsen fashion, his brother Alfie sends him a letter to General Carl Sivertsen. This is like the first, before he's even inducted, to say good luck and have a good time. But a few days later, that flag went on the door at the house. He did basic in March 1st, May 12th. The group, the battalion, the division, joined with many others and hopped on a cruise ship. Probably his first cruise. Left New York Harbor to head to England. Can you imagine being on a boat with all these folks and you're heading to Normandy? You look in front of you, you see what's there, you turn around, a lot of water, but none of your family. And my dad got seasick a lot. This really must have been hell. Once they came through Normandy, they went to St. Lo, France, which was immediately adjacent to the beaches of Normandy. That was a major communication and transportation center for that part of France. It's important to get control of it. But one of the problems was all the hedgerows, all the fields and the farms. Created a situation you couldn't, really see anybody. That's where you had hand-to-hand combat. That's where you climbed over the hedgerow and you saw the German, you had to shoot them. It wasn't a drone from somewhere far away. Then he went off to northern France and came into the Rhineland. This is like southwest Germany and all the other states, countries that come together. You can see the rustic conditions, the terrible conditions that men and women, mostly the men, had to deal with. Hitler was really tearing it up at that time. But the troops from the whole United States Army and other military forces were doing their best to repel it. But this is what war is like. These are the experiences, these are photographs that were provided by my father. These are things you can't unsee. You have the death and the destruction. This is fantastic, and not fantastic in a good way. And that's something that you bring home with you. And for those who are in combat or near combat, it is kind of a frightening thing to think how people can act. But as they left the Rhine area, they went up with many other forces under Patton. They had sometimes got Omar Bradley, a lot of different changes as who's the leader, but those are names you all remember, to the Battle of the Bulge. It's a terrible, terrible event. The Nazis were coming up to the weakest part of the line through France, and they figured they could get through there, get up to Antwerp, they could control that part of the country. They had a hard time. You can see the conditions. Freezing rain, freezing snow, people walking on top of the snow because it was so much, a foot and a half deep. When you arrived in certain places, after the battles, you would find bodies frozen like this, where you see their fingers and hands coming out of the ground. Churchill, who then became Prime Minister, called it the greatest American battle of the war. And probably regarded as the most ever famous American battle. Amazing. But as we finished the Battle of the Bulge, it was time to say, okay, we're done. It's time to chill out a little bit. And he was with the 35th Infantry. He served in 4 of the 5 campaigns they were there. They traveled a good bit. For the veterans in the room, you know what those medals are. They're earned the hard way. Combat Infantry Medal means you're under fire, you're in combat. You were doing a real deal. Purple Heart, it's not just for being there. The Croix de Guerre to Sergeant Carl Sivertsen is one of the, in the order of precedence, one of the higher medals the French government would give to people during World War I and World War II. Here's a picture of the medal itself. Kind of exciting to think about what happened during those times, but this is for bravery, this is for liberating France, putting others above yourself. And it's this article in the local paper back in New Jersey talks about what he had done. He was a staff sergeant. He was a private for 4 months. 4 months he was a private. The 5th month, he became a sergeant. Pretty good promotion rate. 6 months later, he became a staff sergeant. I thought I did good getting E5. Why don't you hold it at this one here? Okay. You see this little wooden box? You see the obituary there? As I went through my dad's stuff before I came down here, that was the only article about his mates. And Zeba would come down to the house on occasion. And one time he came down, and if you look at the table in the back, you'll see a little napkin holder. It was made by him to honor my father. Why? Because he saved his life. That's a real tribute. To a person who was selected to go there, assumed the leadership role, and did his best to serve his country. But for the veterans, you know what memories stick with you. And you can't unsee this stuff. But this is the part you like the best. The buddies, the friends, the places you went. That's what counts. And finally, they came home. You know, came home to a country that appreciated them. But then you got to start your life over again. A little while ago, you saw Santa on the video screen. Just the other day, she sent this little note to me because she couldn't be here. And rather than read it, I'll let you look it over for a moment. And those words sum up a lot of how we all feel about it. You raised us right. We did the right thing. We have mostly a successful family. But what's interesting in doing this, I think Marcia and Linda probably didn't know a lot of these things.
No, I mean, I knew that medal of the bulge,
but I could tell you more. We'd be here till midnight. I don't want to do that. But it's just one of those things where the troops come home and they said, okay, I did my duty. It's time to get on with life again. There's no safe space over in Europe or back in the United States for them to deal with. They just had to suck it up, buttercup, as I'd say sometimes, and move on with life. And so many of the veterans here had choices, either be drafted or volunteer. Some made a career out of it, which is great. And this person here, he didn't make a career, he did his duty, came back home and did a very important duty, raised his family. Upon leaving the service, a little while later, 1946 comes along, and here comes Miss Marcia. So now the family grows to a family of 3 children, and my mom and dad, a 1-bathroom house. Can you imagine that? And then in 1948, of course, the joy of their lives was. But we learned a lot from my parents, my dad specifically, about hard work, integrity, family and faith.
Well
And
said. Well said.
taught us to do what was right instead of great care. all the veterans in the room would stand up for a moment. This song is for you. Turn it up. This is about you guys. I understand. I got little medals for you. And most of us served during an era when we weren't popular. It's probably an understatement. Just simply says, proudly served, veteran. Hopefully you'll put on a sport coat, your ball cap, and remember that, you know, you are a hero. You are somebody special. You've done something that less than 2% of the population has ever done. And you hear about 1%ers, I'd rather be part of these 2%ers than any other group there is. Because each person in this room is enjoying the life they have because of these people. John. The next screen is yours, and we're talking about. Oh, yeah. All right. Can you bring up the mic, Scott? Yeah. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is. Okay, go ahead, Don. What are we doing tomorrow?
You think I can do this?
Sure.
All right.
Okay. I want to block the information.
All right. I think tomorrow, you want to go first with that? I talked to Carl in preparation for it. And I said, there's a military museum in town that a lot of veterans put their stuff in. It's a good place to put it because people will see it, and some of the stuff just gets hidden, and you never find it again. Okay? So we talked to the museum. They're closed on Saturday. They're going to open special for us. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, they'll be open. But first thing tomorrow morning at our church, 8 o'clock,